Hey everyone, my name's Mike and I'm a volunteer here at the Forge. Now I don't know how you feel about feeling uncomfortable in certain situations. I don't know how you feel about being out of your comfort zone. Perhaps you embrace that type of thing, or perhaps you're someone like me that feels a little bit fidgety about it. You know, is it just me feeling uncomfortable? Am I the only one feeling awkward here? The problem with this whole what breaks your heart thing, and this isn't a religious thing, this isn't a Christian thing, it's just a everybody thing. The problem with the question is it will require something of you. Because the truth is, at the end of the day, if you decide to move, even in a small way, in the direction of what breaks your heart, it will require something of you. It will require some time, maybe require some money. It will require some missed opportunity in some other area of your life. And the problem with what breaks your heart is at some point, you have to begin letting go of some of this that you're protecting. It starts to feel as if you're losing a bit of your life, or the things that you define as life, your time, your money, your opportunity, your advancement or forward progress in other parts of your life. So that's the tension, isn't it? When you find out what it is and you decide to get involved, it will cost you. And it will feel like you're giving up or giving away part of your life. And often because of that, we will back away and actually watch from the sidelines rather than get involved. And Luke writes this: large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, "If anyone comes to me and does not hate their father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple." Let's just pause here, because the thought of Jesus telling his followers to hate their family seems a bit crazy. It's confusing. Jesus teaches about loving one another, doesn't he? But you see, he's not talking about the emotion to hate. He's talking about the willingness to allow Jesus to be the superior or ultimate decision maker in your life, instead of people like perhaps your family. And in this moment, those of us who love New Year's resolutions that are all about us, all about our own self-improvement, suddenly we find this tension, this uncomfortableness that Jesus creates when he's talking about being a better person. And so Jesus challenges us to, rather than thinking about and solely focusing on self-improvement, that in following Jesus, we should instead think about self-denial instead. It's not that Jesus doesn't want us to improve ourselves, it's just that he's got a better way to think about it. It's counterintuitive. It's about self-denial, not self-improvement. And he concludes this with this large crowd by saying, "And whoever does not carry their cross and follow me cannot be my disciple." So to follow and to live the life of Jesus is more about self-denial than self-improvement. Now I realise this sounds daunting, sounds intimidating, might feel uncomfortable. And sometimes we read or hear these types of verses and these types of talks and we go, whoa, what are you saying? What is this saying? I have to hate my family? I have to hate my life? But actually, as we wrestle with these verses, as we try and understand what Jesus was trying to teach here, it's that he's saying, I have something better for you. I'm making you a better offer, but you'll never be able to say yes to my better offer until you learn to say no to you. To deny yourself is to say no to you so you can say yes to something bigger. Because as long as I'm all about me, I can never say yes to the things that are outside of me. And the reason why we need to think beyond ourselves is this. And Andy Stanley sums this up really well in one statement. To boil down what Jesus is teaching his followers and us, he says this: whoever devotes themselves to themselves will have nothing but themselves to show for themselves. If you really wrestle with these questions of what breaks my heart, or what would I want people to line up at the end of my life and thank me for, you will ultimately be led away from thinking about yourself. You have to walk away from you. It won't be all about self-improvement, but about self-denial. Jesus invites us to that life, because if you live life all about yourself, it will be total loss, because there will be nothing to show for you but you. And the reality is that there is more to you than you. There is more to you than just self-improvement for its own sake. And what Jesus is saying, he invites us to a life of significance, to step outside of yourself, to be unique, to move in a direction that most people are afraid to move in. This invitation by Jesus to self-denial, to stepping outside of yourself, it brings purpose to life. And purpose is often found just outside the edge of our comfort, just outside of the edge of our comfort zone. And we find it when we begin looking beyond ourselves. We find it when we move the focus from ourselves to others. And Jesus called this need for purpose, he called it abundant life, that you give your life away and you find more life. He said in these verses we looked at from Mark, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. Jesus is saying, empty yourself for others. Follow me and my agenda. And when he talks about the gospel here, he's talking about his agenda, his life. Give your life away and you'll find more life. And so we've returned to this awkward, uncomfortable question. What breaks your heart? And would you be willing to think about that? What is the need? What is the group? What is the challenge? What is the issue that grips you more than the others? You may not be able to change the world, but you could possibly change somebody's world. Or you could possibly change a little tiny slice of the world. What breaks your heart? That's what Jesus meant when he said, deny yourself. Say no to you so you can say yes to something bigger, better and broader than yourself. Because again, whoever devotes themselves to themselves will have nothing but themselves to show for themselves. But as Andy Stanley goes on to add, if you devote yourself to more than yourself, you will have more than yourself to show for yourself.